Hey everyone, it's David Cherry with Keller Williams Leading Edge, and I wanted to share something with you today. There was a great preview that just came out from Fannie Mae that has a lot of people asking some questions, some really good questions about whether or not they should buy a house right now. And I think that question should be answered a couple different ways, but first let me go ahead and put this up on the screen. So what you see here is a graphic from the Delmonico lending team. For those of you who know, is the premier lending team in the state of Rhode Island. Adam and his team are phenomenal, and I use them all the time. So they released a graphic that shows the predictions that Fannie put out. Fannie Mae being one of the major backers of mortgage loans in the United States. So you've got 2 years there. You've got their current prediction and their previous prediction. And there's two things I want you to notice here. One, obviously the current prediction is that the rates are going to go down. But also two, I want you to notice that rates are not going down as much as they thought they previously were. And let me explain to you why this is so important. When you're trying to get the best rate for yourself, that's obviously a big piece as to whether or not you can afford a home. But you really need to stop and do the math. And I don't think most people do this. Most people say rates are low, time to buy, rates are high, time to wait. But you have to figure out how much it's actually going to help you or hurt you to wait. So let me go ahead and give you an example. Currently, in the first quarter of 2024, in Rhode Island, the approximate median house is going for $459,900. Now, at a 6.5% interest rate, which is where they are today, just the principal and interest comes out to $2,325.50 a month. So you're paying just over $2,300 a month. Now, what people think of is they say, well, if I wait 2 years, rates are going to come down almost a full point. So I'm going to save myself a ton of money. Well, not necessarily, because what you have to remember is that the value of real estate, that median sale price, is also changing, right? We get, and here in New England, in Rhode Island specifically, we get about 4% appreciation rate every year. So let's say, for the sake of argument, that we split that out, it's 1% a quarter, which is probably roughly accurate. A couple years ago, it went to like 12%, but let's just say for right now, it's 1% a quarter. So you wait 2 years and you say, this is great. My rate's down to 5.7%. And I'm going to get a much better deal on the house. But do you actually know how much you're saving? $36.05 a month. That's right. What's happened is you've gone from a $2,325.50 payment for, let's say, a $460,000 house, and now you're buying that same house for $493,000 at 5.7% interest rate. You're paying, your new payment at that new lower interest rate is $2,289.45. You've saved a whopping $36.05 by waiting 2 years. Now you might say, well, I'm still saving money. Okay, but what did you give up? You gave up $33,175.05 of equity, because that's how much equity you would have gotten if your property had appreciated at the median, that 1% a quarter. Now, some people are going to say, wait a second, time out. That's not how things work. Prices could go down, prices could go up higher than that, prices could stay flat. You're correct. But what we're doing here is going by averages and forecasts, because that's all you can really do. You can't assume that things are going to go exactly the way you want them to go. But what you can assume is that at some point, we're going to revert towards the mean, because that's what makes the most sense. So no, we're probably not going to see 2% rates again, because that's so well below the mean, right? And that's what I really want you guys to take away from this today. You need to look at this objectively and say, am I willing to risk $33,000 of potential equity for saving $36 a month? Now let's say for a moment, for the naysayers out there that say, hey, prices are at the very least not going to go up any higher. They can't. It's not sustainable. Okay, let's take that for a moment. And let's say prices stay totally flat and you've got 2 years where interest rates go down exactly where Fannie Mae predicts it's going to. Well, what are you going to spend? Well, instead of $2,325.50 a month, you're going to spend $2,135.41. You're saving less than 200 bucks. You're better off cutting cable. Sorry. If you are only shopping for a house based on the amount of your interest rate, you're doing yourself an incredible disservice. By waiting to save less than $200 a month, you've lost $33,000 in potential equity. That's what you're risking for $200 a month. Is it worth it to you? Now, for some of you, the answer is going to be an undoubtedly screaming, yes, it's worth it for me. And that's fine, because not everyone is at the same place in their home buying journey. Some of you are buying a house for the first time and you need to get into a house as quickly as you can. And if that means 2 years of saving carefully to save up for the down payment and rates happen to move in your favor in the meantime, then that's what's right for you. Do that. I'm not going to tell you to buy a house you can't afford. That's silly. However, if you're just shopping, you've got plenty of money, you're ready to go, you're easily pre-approved, and you need to trade up, trade down, or buy a home for the first time, and you've been saving for years, and you're only delaying it because of the rate, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You need to talk to someone who knows what they're doing, whether that be a realtor like myself, whether that be a lender, your financial advisor, somebody who knows what they're doing and does this every day, and they're not going to give you generalized recommendations. Guys, this is super important, and that's what folks should be doing right now, is educating themselves. If you're in a position to buy or trade out of the house that you're in, and you think that the only thing that's stopping you is where interest rates are today, you should be connecting with a professional who can help you run these numbers to see if it makes sense for you. And so that's what I've got for you today. Feel free to give me a call if you have any questions on that. 401-641-1879. Obviously, the people I would recommend for this would be myself. I'd be happy to talk to you about this. But also remember the Delmonico lending team that I had up on the screen earlier. If you want to talk to them about your financing options, call Adam. Say, hey, David sent me. He told me that you guys were the best around when it comes to financing. Could you please give me some advice? I need to know whether or not it makes sense for me to buy or sell right now. So that's what I've got for you guys. Once again, David Cherry with Keller Williams Leading Edge, 401-641-1879. Have a fantastic day, and remember to live your life by design, not by default.